It's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 149, and it's that time of year again. That's right, the man from up north, the jolly man, comes bringing all the good things for the kids. We're talking about Jeff Keighley. It's almost the Game Awards, the 10th annual Video Game Awards, and we're going to be talking about them today. A lot of video game talk on this episode. Kayla.
Hey.
Mike.
Hello. I got the ho-ho-hovid, so, we'll see. No, okay. Forgive my voice, but I'm excited.
Hello.
Ryan.
My name is El Jefe Keighley. My partners in crime today are Rick, Haley, Nike, Demetrius. We got a bold show for you today, guys. It's a challenging environment. We got some really cool predictions. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
World exclusive.
Ryan, you stole my thunder. I was going to ask you guys if you're all ready to talk about some video games, but you're obviously ready to talk about some video games.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad we're all ready to talk about video games.
Yes.
I'm glad everyone showed that in their responses. So yes, we are talking about the upcoming Game Awards. It is 2 days from the Game Awards, the 10th annual Game Awards to be exact. I think there's like 30 different awards they'll be handing out. We're going to predict about 6 of those awards today. We're also going to recap almost the end of our video game draft that we did for this year. We almost have all the results back. We will have the results tomorrow, actually, right around the time this episode will hit the airs. We'll know the final results of that. So, that's great that they didn't schedule that
Post it
perfectly. But we'll post it.
Post episode.
We will post the winner of our draft. And we're also going to be talking about what everyone's talking about. Is this the greatest year of all time in video games? It might be. Some data supports that, some maybe not so much. We'll see. We'll have a nice heart-to-heart on that. Like I said, we're going to start with our draft results here. If you don't remember, we drafted all of the games of 2023. Mike went ahead and drafted a bunch from 2024. But, it was a bold move for him to do that, and we appreciate that. So, we do know who ends up with the 4th place finish in this draft, and it was me, Skitchin Fox Mulder. My score, my final score with 10 games coming out in 2023 was 125.25 points. I drafted some great games: Diablo 4, Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores, Final Fantasy 16, Atomic Heart, Liza P, MLB The Show 23, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, Octopath Traveler 2, and Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. So that was good enough for 125.25 points, and it was also good enough for 4th place out of 4 contestants. So
those were some really good ones, though.
It's an insane year for games,
Eric 82, that's what we call him. Good old 82.
Good old 82. Yes. I had a lot of those. What we don't know is how things are going to turn out in the final 3 slots. Right now,
We know.
We don't.
We know what's going to happen. I'm going to win.
Well, we'll see. Mike's in 3rd right now, guys, with 1 game left to come out in the entire draft of 2023. Mike's right now at 125.38. Kayla is at 130 even. And Aaron, right now, sitting in a tenuous 1st place at 131.58. So there are only basically 6 points separating 3rd place and 1st place at this point. And Mike has, coming out in 2 days, the day of the Game Awards, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. The review embargo lifts tomorrow on the 6th of December. So, unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, we won't know until tomorrow who actually wins this. So, Aaron could finish off the winner. Kayla could remain in 2nd. Mike could remain in 3rd. Or Mike could shoot up to the top. Aaron will end no worse than second. Kayla will end up no worse than third. And Mike could be anywhere between 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to come down to the final game.
I just need a Far Cry game to get a 77 or something. I think I'm be all right.
Well, it has been a year of really good games, but it has been a year of some big flops.
Yeah, namely Redfall, also drafted by
Mike.
Hey, I want to be able to say I drafted Redfall and won my fantasy league. So
Hell yeah. That proves how crazy it is.
You might literally be able to say you drafted Redfall, got negative points for that. You also drafted Tekken 8, which is not coming out in this year, and you drafted Mina the Hollower, who, unless it shadow drops at the Game Awards, also will not come out in 2023. So a negative
like
slot.
590s. That's why I'm winning. That's why I'm going to win.
It's pretty insane. It's been a hell of a draft. In a hell of a year for video games. Some might say the best year.
Eric says it's the best video game year.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what the spreadsheet is titled, Best Year in Gaming, that I sent out to Kayla. So, I don't know. Maybe that means something. My data says it might be. It might be the best year in gaming. I found some really good information on the internet here. Some really good numbers. I got Metacritic all the way back to 2004, and OpenCritic all the way back to 2013. OpenCritic is what we use for our draft scores. So, pretty decent avenues there. I didn't have anything before 2004 in my research. Mike, did you? I know you did a lot of research for this.
Went to 91.
Went to 91. Wow. So let's talk about the 90s a little bit then.
There's really only one year, and that's 98.
98.
Yeah, so that's Half-Life is that year.
StarCraft, right?
Oh, yeah. StarCraft, Resident Evil 2, I believe. Yes. Final Fantasy Tactics, Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Red and Blue came out in America that year. Metal Gear Solid, Grim Fandango, I said Half-Life, and Ocarina of Time.
What a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Previously, you got some decent years, like 94 is like Final Fantasy VI, Donkey Kong Country, Super Metroid, Earthbound. That's like a great 4, like Hall of Fame 4. But there's some years later that just are bananas. So that I thought 98 was really the only year that stuck out and could contend.
Notable.
Well, here's a question. Do we know this? When was is kind of like Nintendo neighborhood for a while there. When did PlayStation come onto the scene finally, and Sega? Well, Sega's before PlayStation. So that's a great question, right?
Like 91 is Sonic 1, Street Fighter 2, Link to the Past, Super Mario World we got here. Yeah, like foundational stuff for sure. But if we're really trying to get past 5, 6, 7 games, it doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing that really struck me in a lot of these years, but especially this year, the just depth. I mean, maybe a lot of these games won't end up being all-timers. We'll see 20 years from now or even 30 years from now when we're talking about 2023. Is anyone still man, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, that's an all-timer. That changed the game. Maybe not. I don't know. But in the moment, going off of just the insane amount of love for a lot of these games, 2023 just has such a deep roster at this point.
What do we want to do? We want to just kind of shout out some years that we think are strong, or
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I'll actually see. I've got the numbers in front of me, so we'll see if those track with the numbers.
Okay, I'm gonna give you 2001 as a contender.
Okay. What came out in 2001?
We get a big year for the PS2. GameCube launched this year. Xbox launched this year as well. Nothing else important came out or happened in that year.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 3 happened that year, which is a big deal. Like, I don't know if we have younger listeners or not, and they might not understand, but GTA 3 was like a game changing like moment for sure. Any game we're playing today is kind of, boils down to GTA 3 kind of. Silent Hill 2 that year, which, we're waiting on a big remaster for that. So got to be, big important stuff. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty came out that year. One of the most hyped up, like, anticipated games of all time. People would just line up to see like trailers at E3 and just stay there watching it loop over and over. GameCube launch came with Melee, of course. Still like the game of choice in like Nintendo competitive scene, like completely. We got Final Fantasy X. We got Halo, of course, with the Xbox launch, and we got Max Payne, which kind of boiling down with Alan Wake 2 and where Remedy's at, like now nominated for Game of the Year this year. And Max Payne was just dope. I don't care. I included it because, excuse me, it's
I
great.
think when you go that far back, to 2001, you are talking about the fundamentals, right? Like the things that all of our current games are kind of built on. So Max Payne, is the first bullet time? Like, is that like it's pretty much seen as
post Matrix? I think the first thing to really, in games at least, to use it that I know of.
I mean, yeah, I like that point, but isn't it really crazy when you think, gosh, what could they do? What could they even do next? How could they keep this getting better? But they do. They did a lot of times in 2023. They pushed all kinds of. I mean, let's just think about Resident Evil 4.
Let's think. Let's go to 2005.
We can. I just mean, how crazy is it that you sit there and think, how could they get better than this? And then they do.
I agree. Absolutely. I think some particular genre busters and what they did for the genre this year is next level, takes it to the next step of, just talk about like tiers in their physics system, the things like Baldur's Gate and what they did for CRPGs and, the many other games we put out this year that just what they did for their genre, particularly, like bringing it to the next level. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Made some moves. Alan Wake was great.
I love having these conversations, pointing out exactly that. Like, it seems like, so all those games from 2001, played all but Max Payne, and some of them at the time, and was struck exactly like that. Like, oh, this can't get better, right? Like, these are the most realistic that, like, physics are going to ever be. This is the best graphics. Like, how can these look like people, right? And then yeah, just a few years later, to what's the next year, Mike?
We going straight to 02 or where? What do you?
Whatever next year you. One? Yeah, whatever you.
If anyone else has a year that they think, shout it out.
2004, as far as Metacritic, had 21 games that were 90 or better on Metacritic.
Wow, that's a big year. I picked out like 6 that I love from that year. I have Half-Life 2, GTA San Andreas. It's going to be a theme with GTA in some of these years. Got that 6 trailer. Did y'all watch the GTA 6 trailer?
Yeah, I watched I watched some people in Florida. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Looks
just
cool.
a teaser, but
people in Florida.
I thought it was very impressive. And there's a reason why these games, like the GTA stuff, was big. And we had Snake Eater that year, Metal Gear Solid 3, which to me that's the worst version of that game, which dings it a little bit in my opinion. Halo 2 was huge. I love Burnout 3 Takedown. I think it's like the best racing game ever made. I love that game. And the first Katamari Damacy came out that year and blew my mind for $20.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes to Metacritic and some of those like early aughts years, a lot of them are like the sports games. We're doing the racing games, the sports games were kind of just coming into their really becoming what they are today, your Maddens and your 2Ks and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And they were way more innovative then, basically for the last, I don't know, people have been saying for 10 plus years at this point, you get the same 2Ks, you get the same Maddens and stuff, but they were really kind of figuring it out back then, and people still have a lot of affinity for those games, and that's why I think like 2004, 2005 also has 17 90 pluses as well on Metacritic.
Cool. So, I mean, just based on, we're going like this Metacritic score, but like as you guys are kind of like shouting out these, years, like on top of these, like, certified bangers, it's like I'm seeing a lot of foundational games in these years you're picking out. Like, there's a lot of games that like those were the building blocks of the games we see now.
Yeah,
totally. Hell yeah. I think they belong in the conversation, like is kind of what I'm shouting out. And I don't know that 2023 can have the title already. I think there's got to be
it's close.
A grace period. Eric kind of mentioned, like, we don't know if a lot of this stuff is going to be, stuff that sticks with us. And that weighed a lot for me when I was trying to like think about this, like the stuff that I would want to go back to and play, and it's still great and still holds up. So
I know 2011 obviously had Skyrim.
Oh yeah,
give me some more.
Dark Souls, The Witcher 2,
yeah.
Batman Arkham City, Minecraft, one of the biggest, hugest games. They get acquired. Yeah, Dead Space 2, I think.
Portal 2.
Fun remake this year too, though. See, they did it. They did the thing there, where it's like that. I think I like having a grace period for it, but I'm just kind of blown away by 2003's amount of stuff that they've put out that has been like. I think we're also seeing like a rush of COVID backflow happen here. So it is interesting that you have these great games, Starfield and things we anticipate for a long time too, that have kind of like Redfall we were super excited for, and that was I just crossed that thing off the list and said I don't even want to look at it. Disgraced.
It's pretty funny you bring up the whole COVID of it all, and I think, you can see. So I'll give you the numbers from 2019 to 2023 in terms of Metacritic, 90s and above, rated 90s and above from 2019 to 2023. So in 2019 we had 12. In 2020 we had 14. We had 12 again in 2021. We had 13 in 2022, and this year we had 25 that are 90 or above on Metacritic.
Man.
Like double basically the output of big, huge, like kind of well-regarded games.
What What would be the year in second place? Because 2023 is the most, or
2023 right now is the most, and 2011 with 23 90s was technically in that. If we're just going off of that of 90 pluses on Metacritic, it was 2011.
Yeah, but like Skyward Sword's one of those 90s, you know? Like,
hey, get off my man. Get off my man.
When did Guitar Hero come out?
Guitar Hero 1 is 05. So that is the Resident Evil 4 year. That's Shadow of the Colossus.
Wow.
God of War original. And
Banger year.
Psychonauts.
Yeah, I mean, games are just getting harder and not harder, but they're taking more time. You know, I mean, I think Baldur's Gate 3 took 6 years to make, right? And some of these other games, similar, like 4, maybe 5 years, depending on the title. And it's a weird cycle. Cook. Yeah, let it cook, exactly. Let them cook.
I think 2017.
It's a good one.
You like 2017 a lot? So that's Super Mario Odyssey, that's Breath of the Wild, that's Persona 5, Divinity 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Minecraft hitting consoles, I believe.
I don't even have a lot of that on here.
Hollow Knight. Those were all 90s on OpenCritic in 2017.
Well, let's talk about some good games. We got What Remains of Edith Finch. Night in the Woods is that year. Cuphead's that year. Resident Evil 7 is that year. Yes, Horizon's that year. SteamWorld Dig 2 is that year.
Cuphead.
Yeah.
Neo.
Pyre. Just a great year.
Robo Recall. I'm not familiar with that, but very good.
Fortnite launches that year.
Oh, man, Fortnite was 17? Holy smokes. Wow.
I mean, just on Breath of the Wild alone, and like the huge year that Nintendo had, and I know Nintendo had a huge year this year as well.
Yeah,
I think it's the biggest year for them.
They spread out this year.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if like console launches should count in the year, but
I mean, adaptions.
I think that's interesting. Consoles being like a divider, like if 2 years have a ton of really good games, but also a console launch happened in one of the years, like I think that's important. I think in terms of just the best year in gaming or something like that. I like that idea. So 2017 was the Switch then.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
6 years ago.
That's huge.
Snipper clips. Come on. We all played it.
Right. Yeah. No, we did not.
We all made our
Bomberman R. No, I'm kidding.
We all made our box robots.
Metacritic didn't like 2017. Only 11 90s or above.
But what about them 89s, man?
A lot of 89s,
what
probably.
About them 89s? I love me an 89. Edith Finch, that's an 89. Tell me that ain't an 89.
That's a 99 in my book.
Well, I right.
Edith Finch.
Right. But I'm talking like when you think of
yeah,
games media, they don't know the truth.
That needs to be a 90. I think just like round it up, man. Like Edith Finch is really good.
I mean, 2018, the next year, is fantastic. That's Red Dead 2, God of War reboot, Spider-Man, Into the Breach, which I love. Monster Hunter World, which is like bringing Monster Hunter to the PS4, and it was fucking dope as fuck.
It was big.
Celeste is that year. Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect is real good. Shadow of the Colossus, the like remaster.
We don't talk about that.
Dead Cells. That's one.
Dead Cells is big.
Towerfall.
Yeah, Smash Ultimate.
Towerfall.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
What a game.
I mean, 07 to like 11, like those just 4, 5, 6 straight years are just like crazy. Like every year is really good.
That comes out in the data. So 07 has 21 90s or above on Metacritic. 08, 18, 09, 19, 2010 was a little lull, 16, and then back up to 2011 with 23, which was the leader in 90s until this year. So yeah, that's an insane stretch of there's no other stretch in the, going back to 2004, from 2004 to 2023. There's really no like 4-year stretch that matches that. It's pretty insane.
It felt like an arms race around then. I just remember like just feeling like I don't have the console, I don't have the game. There's this new thing. It was just like every time you turned around, someone was innovating something. Somebody was, like, oh, you gotta get this in your house and you gotta spend all your time on it right now.
Well, it's like Xbox finally kind of really announced itself at that point, right? Like that's 360 kind of.
This was Modern Warfare year. This is BioShock year. And those were big games for Xbox. They weren't on PS3. Well, BioShock came to PS3 later, but not a lot of people were playing on PS3 that often early. Like,
it was expensive.
360 was the leader at that point, and this was a huge year for him. Halo 3 that year. And it. Mario Galaxy was this year, the best game. Huge game. Rock Bands that year, Portal 1, God of War 2 was like the final PS2 like swan song kind of game. Assassin's Creed 1, Mass Effect 1, these huge franchises that we're still playing started that year. Big year. The 07 would be like third place for me, I feel.
2011, 07, or no? What were your top 3?
17's my number 1.
Okay.
And I don't know, 23 is very good.
23's.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can't give it the top spot. Like,
no. we need a
many of my favorite games, like top 5, top 10, top 20, whatever, are from 2017. So I don't know.
That's a good.
I don't feel that way about anything so far this year. You know what I mean?
No, I think that is good. I mean, Kayla, not to, I guess, super spoil our later conversations in the naughties and stuff like that, but what do you feel? We've played a lot of games and we're deep into like Baldur's Gate. Anything from this year do you think has potential to be like a top 5 or even top 10 for you, like all time?
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
Interesting.
Ooh,
I guess I should. We haven't really. I don't know how much we've talked about like the actual games that have come out this year. We've done it on plenty of episodes, but I'm just gonna list off of what 2023 actually does look like.
It's insane.
At the top, I'm going off of Open Critics list, so what we kind of built our draft points off of and everything else. It's tied right now at 96. Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, both had 96. Metroid Prime Remastered, 94. Videoverse, which I'm not familiar with, a PC game. I don't know if Ryan, you're the PC guy. Is that a 92? I don't know what Videoverse is. We should have drafted it, apparently. Came out in August.
That's fraudulent there. None of us have heard of this game. That don't count.
It's just Open Critic. No one cares about Open Critic. Videoverse looks cute.
It's how we get our draft scores.
Well, no one drafted Videoverse, so it doesn't matter.
Well, but in the bigger context of the conversation.
True. I'd have to look and see if it's
24 90s this year. That's it.
I'd have to see if it's also on the Metacritic list. So this is the Open Critic list. I know it's all a lot of critics.
Avatar will make it back to 25. Don't worry.
Has anyone heard of a little game called Resident Evil 4 with a 92 on Open Critic?
2005's best game.
Some might say 2023's best game as well. Tents and Trees. I don't know what that one is, but also sitting at a 92. That came to Switch in March. Street Fighter 6, also a 92. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, a 91. 8-Bit Adventures 2, 91. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, 91. Turbo Overkill, 91. Slay the Princess, 90. Heard good things about Slay the Princess. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Future Redeemed, 90. Jack Gene, don't know that one, 90. Let's Revolution, 90. Dave the Diver, 90. So those are the 16 that OpenCritic has as 90s or above. Definitely top heavy. I mean, between Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Resident Evil 4, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate, played them all. Spider-Man 2,
Diablo 4.
Diablo 4 is not even here, and that's a game to me worthy of like a
right. I really liked it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Alan Wake 2 is
An
an
89.
89. Sea of Stars is an 89. Phantom Liberty
89.
is an 89.
I get them 89s, man. I
A
love
lot
them.
of 89s. Hi-Fi Rush, Dead Space, Sea of Stars, Talos Principle, all 89s. Like, not only is this a top heavy, but it's also just like it's incredibly deep. Like, it's incredibly deep here.
There's a lot.
Big
Pretty
bite.
awesome.
Chia, Cocoon.
Right.
much great stuff.
Yeah.
Dredge.
Pikmin 4, the game no one talks about, but everyone loves.
People talking about that. People won't shut up about that.
Talking about Pikmin 4.
Anyone play it? Anyone play Pikmin 4?
No, not yet.
No. Okay. I was wondering. Probably won't come up on the naughties, folks. Pikmin 4.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, so for me, like 07 has a huge place in my heart, like with BioShock. 2011 has a huge place in my heart with Skyrim, and then 2013, my favorite game of all time, came out in 2013. So there's there's that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I have a feeling it could go down. Like when I'm making my next refresh of my 100 games of all time, I don't know if any of these will be top 10, but I think like my entire like 11 to 30 might be filled with games from 2023 or something like that. I feel like that's a possibility. We'll see how Baldur's Gate ends up being. But yeah, and honestly, I don't know. Tears of the Kingdom's one of those all-timers. I want to see. I think that's the one that we might be talking about in maybe Baldur's Gate. I got to play more, but like I think Tears of the Kingdom's probably got the biggest chance to be like, man, this is everyone's going to try to make an Ultra Hand. Everyone's going to try to do Ascend, stuff like that. Make multi-tiered levels, stuff like that, or multi-tier open world kind of stuff. I feel like there's like 5 different ideas in Tears of the Kingdom that people will be kind of trying to ape for the next at least like 5 years, like they did with Breath of the Wild. Honestly, like everyone wanted to make a Breath of the Wild clone for the last like what now 6 years, 7 years almost.
I think a lot of companies wanted to, and very few were able to actually get anything out the door. Like we had Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Genshin Impact, and that's kind of it. Like I don't know. I think a lot of
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Sure, okay.
Really kind of like tried to grip it off, and I think did a fantastic job. Chia this year did a good job. Yeah, it's not like it's an easy thing to do, right? Like, just like make the best game ever, in some people's estimation at least.
Yeah, see, I feel the same way about Baldur's Gate. I think everyone's going to try to put their version on. Hey, let's do our own spin on the CRPG. Let's see if it sells. Let's advertise it. Let's do it. Maybe not in a such graphical, intense way. Maybe they could do something more indie-like, but still with the same choice and consequences as this game has. And they could branch you out in different narratives. Yeah, because that game's it's a monstrous task to undertake because the amount of voice acting you got to put into it and everything else. I think you'll see it at a smaller scale from other studios for sure. Don't want to take the risk for later on.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We'll have to see. I mean, recency bias is a real thing. Let's give this like a year to cook, and come back and like, hey, was this, really the best year ever?
Yeah,
it's been a wild year.
Yeah, can't wait for my Legend of Zelda Baldur's Gate.
Put 2 and 2 together. Wow, that'd be a
someone's
wild
gonna try
game.
to make
Oh my God.
one that has both. I love it.
Someone's gonna do it.
I'm interested to see, like, we're getting a new Mass Effect at some point in the future. I feel like that's a perfect pairing. Like, Mass Effect already messed around with branching narratives and characters dying and stuff like that. Hopefully they're taking a real hard look at like how deep Baldur's Gate is with all that, and whatever the next thing from the Mass Effect universe is, goes that deep into that, the branching narratives and all of that. I've not even, me and Kayla are like 14 hours into Baldur's Gate, and we've barely kind of scratched the surface of any of that kind of stuff, like any kind of like story, branching stuff. But I see the twinkles of, I think, what people are talking about in Baldur's Gate at this point. Any other thoughts, Mike? You've done a ton of research on the best years in gaming.
Yeah, I'm fine with 2023 being like the mathematically correct answer or whatever, but
in your heart of hearts, it's not.
I'm like, okay, Mario Wonder is not my favorite Mario game.
Sure.
Resident Evil 4 is not my favorite version of Resident Evil 4. Street Fighter 6 probably wouldn't be my favorite Street Fighter. Sea of Stars, I have Chrono Trigger at home. Alan Wake 2, I don't want to spoil too much naughty stuff, but I might prefer Alan Wake 1. Tears of the Kingdom, I think I prefer Breath of the Wild as far as like importance in my heart. So I don't know. It's a great year, but I don't think it's not my favorite. It's not the best for me.
Spider-Man 2?
Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man game. It has that.
I would tend to agree. That is a damn good Spider-Man game. Any thoughts from you, D, or Ryan? Anyone, any counterpoints to?
What's your favorite years, Sam?
Yeah.
I think, before that, I think 97 was very strong. I think 98 is just a monster as well. I think that might be nostalgia talking in some sense. But maybe 2011. 2011 was also like a huge foundation for like a lot of games, what they became in other genres that, it's a hard thing to answer, but honestly, I think 2023 might be at least in my top 3 of all time right now. If I had to choose, going to my head, well, rapid fire. 97, 2011, 2013.
So Final Fantasy 7 is what makes is that what
it opened me up to a whole new world, man. It was big, different, and
I get it.
I think for me, 98 is I experienced 98 in 2000. We got our first PC in 2000, and it came with Half-Life, StarCraft, and Diablo. And so I played a lot of those games a couple years later, and as far as nostalgia goggles and stuff like that, of like fundamental, like still like to play some of those games from that time and stuff, like 98's kind of where I guess modern gaming it comes like for me in my mind. And then 2011 is probably like my favorite year in terms of I just love what Skyrim did for the medium. Like it kind of what could have been a very niche kind of game and whatnot, like a first person RPG in a kind of long running series that was, whatever.
Shit was bananas.
Yeah, it's still, people are still making Skyrim. Like, it's still coming out on stuff, and grandmas are playing it and stuff. Like, that's because I love like gaming in the mainstream and becoming more mainstream. I think 2011 always will kind of like hold a big place in my heart. So, and I like Mike's breakdown of like 2023 is the numerical champion right now, and we'll see, if it holds that place in our heart down the line there. I like it.
Stacked year.
Yeah.
I guess thinking about it a little bit more, maybe I have to take 2011 out of the equation, put that for 2003. World of Warcraft came out, and I'm a huge MMO guy, and what that did, I mean, that game, what it did for everything and how much it sold and what it did for just the industry and out there. Because, you play games together, and that's a thing, and doing it with friends online, everywhere, a bunch of other people at once was a
Sitting on the couch next to each other.
Exactly.
Nice.
Whichever,
we like that. We like that over here.
Do both, yeah, right. It's a completely different experience than what you're used to, than like just couch co-op. So maybe 2003 for me as well in that mix.
That game is that old? I had no idea.
It's very old, man. Very old.
Holy smokes!
Still kicking ass.
Still making shit ton of money.
Well, 2023, maybe the best gaming year of all time. We'll see. The last big thing we're getting in 2023 is the Game Awards. Like I teased earlier, we're talking Game Awards. We're gonna make some predictions in 6 categories. There's like 25, 30. I don't know how many categories there are.
Too many.
Yes. A lot of them are like gaming esports team of the year and stuff like that. Good for you guys. I hope all of you guys are esporting away. But we picked the 6 best, and we're gonna predict in each of those 6 categories who's gonna win. Do we want to start with most anticipated game or best adaptation?
Most anticipated game. So our nominees, or Jeff Keighley's nominees, or the Game Awards nominees, are, in most anticipated game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. I have an order here that says Eric, Ryan, Mike, D, and Kayla. I don't care what order we go. We can snake. I'll start because that's the order I put it in. For me, so okay, are we doing the for me or are we doing the who do we think? These are predictions, right? Who do we think's gonna win, right?
Me, it was who do we think? Who's gonna win it?
Who's gonna wind up
with
the trophy?
Give me what your heart wants. Give me what you think is gonna win. Give me that. I want to hear those.
Future Hefty wants it. He demands it.
That's very nice. That's very nice. So for me, I think Hades 2 is my most anticipated game, but I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to win. Walk away with the most anticipated. So. You
want to play Hades 2 over Rebirth?
I want to play them both quite a bit.
I do.
Okay, but, right. I would have guessed that, but I know Eric's he loves 7, so.
I do, but I loved Hades more than I loved 7 Remake. So just slightly. And I'm excited for more Hades. And I'm afraid that there's a chance that I won't like Rebirth. Like I won't like where they're gonna go with the story and stuff like that. I don't think there's a chance in the world I won't like Hades 2. I just think I'm gonna enjoy that game as long as it's more of the first one, new characters, maybe some new abilities and stuff like that. I think it's locked in that I'm gonna enjoy that game.
Who's up?
Ryan is next in my list for most anticipated game.
Man, it's took the words right out of my mouth. It's a hard one. In my heart of hearts, I'd love for another stellar Star Wars game. So I'm going to go with Outlaws.
Okay. We didn't even mention Star Wars at all in our earlier talks.
Right?
That came out this year too.
Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Survivor was a wonderful game this year as well. So Star Wars Outlaws, you think is going to win most anticipated game?
I mean, in my heart, that's what I want. I know deep down to some from the future that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to win it because I mean, it's Square Enix poster child. It's the person they put on milk carts. It's the first one where they sell mobile games galore. It's where they put all their eggs in their basket. It's going to be Rebirth.
Keeley came out with a hype video. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's about 2.5 minutes. It's on YouTube. And I clocked only 2 games that weren't already out in the hype video. One was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and the other was Death Stranding 2. There may be more, but those are the 2 that I saw that weren't already out. Mike, you're next on my list here. Who do you think is going to win most anticipated game?
This is such an odd list to me. It makes me think that next year is not going to be great.
I think you're right.
As 2023, which is fine. But my personal one was Rebirth, and I think that's what's going to win as well. That trailer was fucking good as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't even like Final Fantasy like that. Not even this Final Fantasy specifically like that. And that trailer was dope. It was really fun to see my favorite like podcasters and stuff freak out to that trailer. And I don't know, it was really fun, really cool. So I just don't think it's just not. It can't lose. I don't know. To me, that's a shoo-in.
What do you think, Dean? Can it lose?
There's literally no way. You already know what I'm gonna say. You guys know who I am. There's no skirting around the subject. It's gonna sweep. It's gonna be a Rebirth sweep because it's doing the thing that we were just talking about with Baldur's Gate and Legend of Zelda. It's adding verticality. It's adding options. And it's still trying to, have the face of, hey, it's the thing you love, sort of.
Right. They took something. It's always scary when they take something that you love and put their fingers on it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, holy shit, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Every second of that trailer is something new to look at and to be excited about. And Dee's right.
Injected my Final Fantasy with Chrono Trigger. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Took them long enough.
So, Kayla, are you going to be a rebel and say something other than Final Fantasy VII?
No. I'm the same as you. I'm excited. My most anticipated is Hades 2, and I think that it'll actually be Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. I think that's the safe choice there. Fuck it. Let's let it up to the podcasters here. We've got best game direction, best narrative, best art direction, best adaptation. What's next? What should we do next, guys?
Adaptation.
There we go.
Adaptation's fun.
You know what, Kayla? Because you were brave and you spoke up. How about you go first? Oh, sorry. The nominees are Castlevania Nocturne from Netflix, the Super Mario Brothers movie from the movies, The Last of Us from HBO, Gran Turismo, the movie, and Twisted Metal, the Peacock series.
My heart of hearts is The Last of Us, and I also think that The Last of Us will take it.
Tilu. We'll see if it will be another sweep in that. D, what do you think in best adaptation?
I think best adaptation in my heart is Mario movie because I had the most fun with it. But I feel like it's gonna go to Last of Us just because of like it had a cultural impact. We had people who had no idea what Last of Us was, chirping and chomping at the bit about it. So I think it'll
straight. This was one of the moments at work. I work with women who watch nothing but trash TV and serial killer shit. Nothing. And a 32-year-old girl who I know knows nothing about video games or anything is like, hey, you watching The Last of Us? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Do you want to talk about it? Did you know about this? Did you know about that? Like,
Have you played the video game?
Well, maybe it was it a good thing or a bad thing? Her husband and his son, who's 12, started playing it.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
start them early.
Yeah, they like it.
Logan too.
2013's
best. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Greg wants to play The Last of Us so bad, and I.
Oh boy.
Like, nah, you gotta wait 10 years, bro.
That's anxiety inducing, man. I don't want to play Last of Us.
They'll re-release it in,
right.
Yeah, it'll be a Skyrim. It'll be a boom, 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 boom.
You'll be able to play it on the PS6.
We didn't talk about that for years when it came out. When did that originally come out?
The Last of Us, 2013.
Yeah. 2013.
I had mentioned that, that's my favorite game of all time.
BioShock Infinite Year.
Yeah.
Good year.
Mike, are you also a Last of Us guy for best adaptation?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo D. I loved the Mario movie. I thought that was just as good as a start as they could have to this new, Nintendo movie thing. Very hype about the Zelda news as well. But Last of Us is gonna take it. It's HBO. It's prestige.
It's
Keely loves having those actors. One more chance to have the four of them on stage. Ellen Page, or no, I mean,
no, it's not.
How dare you? How dare you?
What's her name? And Troy Baker,
Ashley Johnson.
Yes, Ashley Johnson. Thank you. And
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal.
I wonder if they'll all be there, or if he'll get Neil Druckmann up there or something. Could see that.
I would love Neil's going to be there, and he's going to accept that trophy and push the others off stage. No. The Druck man will be in attendance.
Dr. Uckman. Ryan, The Last of Us, or I know you liked Gran Turismo. Actually, you saw that.
I loved it. I'm not a racing guy. I'm not a racing guy, but I really liked it. It was very enjoyable. But with that being said, this is a new category this year, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first time it's ever been? Yeah. All right. That's crazy. It makes me curious to know.
What do you see? What in your visions?
In my visions,
what do you know?
It was a very close race between Gran Turismo and The Last of Us.
I get it.
But unfortunately, honestly, it was a fantastic show. The Last of Us takes the cake this year. Well deserved. I mean, I echo everything you said, Mike. Great. It's HBO. It's dark. Great narrative. Brought a conversation. Everyone talked about it. Even, Kayla was talking about, even people, that watch not the most healthiest shows for you. But yeah, it's going to be that. Absolutely. 110%.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to, not be a rebel or anything else. I think it's going to be The Last of Us. I think there's an outside shot that it's the Super Mario Brothers movie that's highly successful. I think no one would kind of bat an eye, I think, if it was that one. I think anything else, everyone would be like, the fix is in. But I think, if Super Mario Brothers movie won, it's one of the most successful movies of the year. It's beloved property and stuff. But I think it's going to be The Last of Us for all the reasons of let's get Pedro Pascal on the stage kind of.
Yeah, the only thing that could put that up there is just The Last of Us is, restricted by its audience.
Sure.
Super Mario Brothers is not. All ages loved it.
True. That's a good call. Yeah, comparing the viewers of The Last of Us to the Super Mario Brothers movie is, tiny fraction,
Do you think, in years after, it would just say it's a dry year in movies, you think we'll still have this category with maybe two options?
That's
Legend of Zelda and
I think games are going to be for the picking for TV shows and movies and stuff.
As
you
the
just
MCU kind of goes to the wayside, maybe. I think video games are going to fill that void, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a lot of creativity is being funded in Hollywood these days. Plenty of creative filmmakers out there, but tough to get $100 million given to you. So
different conversation. Keep it brief. But comparatively to the Godzilla movies in the West and the Godzilla movie that just released and their success, night and day.
Sure. That one looks cool. Year one
got good reviews.
Yeah. Godzilla's hot right now. We're getting another Godzilla and Kong too. So
I mean, our Godzilla movies made a lot of money. So like, I don't know.
But were they any good?
No, they weren't. But,
Kong Skull Island, still the best Godzilla movie, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think so.
Seconded.
Let's do the best art direction category for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. This is Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So best art direction. It's hard to exactly like put my finger on what this one means. So creative and technical achievement in artistic design and animation. For me, it's probably Hi-Fi Rush, I guess, out of these. I don't think it'll win, though. I think this might be Super Mario Brothers Wonder for me in best art direction. I think that's what will end up winning in this category. Ryan, what do you think in best art direction?
Hi-Fi Rush, hands down. Absolutely. I think it deserves it. I think it's aesthetically what they did with it, comic booky, cell shaded, kind of. It's just all over the place, and what basically cohesively putting everything together. It's great. I mean, Mario is beautiful looking. Don't get me wrong, but it's a Mario game. It's a Mario game. You know what you get into. I don't think they do anything too crazy different, and I think it's a great direction to game. But art direction, I think Hi-Fi Rush new, bold, and I think they did a fantastic job on that end. If it's going to win any award this year, it's going to be Hi-Fi Rush for that. Yeah,
I hope so. I hope it does. It's going to be. I hope it's not a forgotten game this year. Hi-Fi Rush. Mike, what do you think for best art direction?
This is the Microsoft's award for the night. It's going to be Hi-Fi Rush. The game just looks like no other game that I've ever seen. It looks just like a cartoon. Like it is a Saturday morning cartoon that you can play. It's from cutscene to gameplay. It's just so seamless, and no one's ever pulled that off for me this well. And there's some other cool stuff. I think Alan Wake 2 can win it as far as just all of the multimedia stuff that they incorporate with it. I think that's included in deciding this, and the game is really gorgeous at times too. Zelda, I think that's their umpteenth ripoff of Miyazaki stuff. I can't give them that, and Liza P, I think, is ugly. And Mario Wonder, it's really great. So, but I think Hi-Fi Rush has to win this one.
Nice, awesome. D, what do you think for best art direction?
I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm a little parody, but I will agree with the Hi-Fi Rush thing. I think that's probably like, as far as best art direction, talking creatively and technically, they implemented a unique fighting system. Again, visuals were out of control, but also like the voice work, like it was a very cohesive product, and it came out of nowhere. Everybody was talking about it for a lot longer than you would expect. Something that came out on it was Game Pass, right? Like it didn't even have like a big release. So
yeah, it was like January, February too.
Yeah, real early.
Shadow dropped at some award, like a show
showcase. Microsoft like showcase thing,
yeah.
So I mean, like it really came out of nowhere.
Sneaky.
So I think it definitely deserves the award, and just the like. I love Legend of Zelda. It did a lot of stuff visually that is very like rip off Miyazaki-esque, but there was a lot of really good. Like they took the Breath of Wild DNA and they stretched it. I don't think it deserves the award over Hi-Fi Rush, but I understand why it's put in this category. Unlike Lies of P, it does actually look ugly.
Such a weird choice, Lies of P. I guess I don't know. It's got aesthetics that it's going for, but
I would have put Chia in this list or something.
Oh yeah,
like I don't know. There's so many great looking indies and even AAA stuff. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy 16 looks cool. I mean, some of the environments work in that game. I mean, just blew me away.
That's kind of a weird thing. Like Final Fantasy just kind of got real short shrift throughout this whole thing.
It might be because so many good games. Who knows?
Yeah.
No Diablo on any of these lists.
Yeah, no Diablo either.
Kayla, art direction. I've chosen Wonder. I'm the only one. Everyone else, Hi-Fi Rush.
Well, the Heart of Hearts, I agree. Hi-Fi Rush is. I liked D-Words. It's just so cohesive. It's just the art is cool and it is seamless. But I think that Alan Wake 2 will take it because I think
that's a smart bet.
I've never played a game like Alan Wake 2. What the hell? There's all kinds like your mind space and like just the moving through the mystery of it all, the spiral of it all is so just the music, the media, like that you said, that gets intertwined into the story is just so wild to me. I can't wrap my head around it. It's very, very crazy. I want a better word than crazy, but I can't pick a word.
I think for a game like Alan Wake 2, crazy's a very good phrasing.
This could be a very big night for Alan Wake 2. Potentially.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype with it. It has a lot of momentum as far as like number of people who played it and loved it.
I find that really surprising. I thought it was more of like a niche thing. And it is interesting how much hype this has had.
Keely's helped with that. I think it's been at like every one of his things. It was like officially announced last year, I think, right?
I think you're right.
I think it also... Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Ryan.
I really think with these Game Awards, I think just through recency, people are finally getting around to it. They're finishing all their games and they've had their tiers played. They've had their Jedi Survivor, that everything else played for a while. And they let it sit. And what's hyped up the most right now? Not to say it's not a good game. I'm just saying that it's what's being talked about the most right now. When those other games had their month or whatever it was talked about just as much, if not more, than Alan Wake 2. So it's really hard thing to know what's going to take over really at these award shows, because everything feels like really in the moment for this game right now, and the others had their time to shine throughout the year. So I don't know. It's a very difficult year.
Yeah, it's the momentum of it all. So art direction, we don't all agree on this one. I picked Super Mario Wonder. Ryan, Mike, and D all picked Hi-Fi Rush, and then Kayla went with Alan Wake. I think not a bad pick in the bunch. Let's go on to Best Narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. This is... I hope I'm, not picking too much with my heart here. I feel like it's got to be Alan Wake 2 for me for best narrative. It's a game about a writer. It's a game about a narrative. It's meta. It's it's in its own ass in a lot of ways. It's a game about narrative, so it should probably win best narrative. So I'm gonna pick Alan Wake for best narrative myself. Ryan, what do you think for best narrative?
Man, in my Game Awards hosting mine, I had two roads to go down. It was a really hard call between BG3 and Alan Wake because the choices alone in BG3, again exploring different narrative lines and you want to otherwise witness or deciphering, but you can go real deep in that game. If you wanted the lore, it's there. They have books in every place you explore. It talks more about some character in the region, something about the main quest, or whatever. I mean, the writing is just, it's all over, but same way, it's all together at the same time. But then you have something like Alan Wake, which, it has that emotional fidelity and sensory, like, symphony of, like, things all working together as one that just kind of blows you away because it's a very fixed point of, like, obviously the narrative. And I think that can really elevate things for someone who's just solely playing some for a story aspect. So, as much as I love BG3, I think very likely Alan Wake's going to take it for the narrative.
All right. How about you, Mike? Best narrative.
I want all the people who voted for Alan Wake to be in this category and to win this category. I want you all to email me what this game means and what the narrative means. Because I guarantee y'all ain't one of you going to have the same fucking answer.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And none of you are going to be right. Alan Wake 2 should not be on this list, I don't think.
Damn.
Haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. I've heard nothing but great things about the narrative and the choices and the dialogue and all of the above. People seem really hype on Phantom Liberty's like added stuff that they've added to that game and the narrative specifically. Spider-Man 2 is really good. I thought the narrative kind of wasn't as good as Spider-Man 1's and kind of towards the end fell off for me a little bit. I'm just going to pick Baldur's Gate 3 as the winner.
It's got the most narrative, and sometimes the most is also the best. D, what do you think for best narrative? What's going to win?
Oddly enough, I must abstain because I have played 0 of these games.
So D thinks Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win best narrative.
Yeah, I've only consumed reviews and secondhand stuff. I haven't gotten my hands on any of these yet. So, again, just all the buzz around Baldur's Gate 3, and honestly, Final Fantasy 16, as far as everyone's general experience with Final Fantasy 16, has all been, man, it was a great story. I just wish the gameplay was more. So, I mean, if we're talking just narrative, I feel like Final Fantasy 16 is a contender at least. But again, I'm just between Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3. It's just
I need you to play Alan Wake 2, D, and send me an email, please.
Okay, happily.
Tell me what it is. Tell me what it's about.
3 paragraphs.
D, all you got to do is write thought-provoking in your email. Send it off, and you're good. You've covered it.
I'll CC you.
Good.
Thank you.
I'm putting you down for Final Fantasy 16, D, to be fun.
Oh, wow.
Kayla, what was your guess for the winner of Best Narrative of 2023 at the Game Awards?
I
Be truthful, Kayla.
Well, you guys all just did your votes, so I'm gonna bite my tongue. I'm gonna save some things maybe for another time.
All right. Whoa.
This one's tough. I don't know, because I agree, Mike. Alan Wake is a little out there. Baldur's Gate is too much. Too like I like it, but it's a lot. It's
sure.
Like
dense,
saturated. It's very, very saturated. I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I do hear good things about it. I feel like I don't hear good things about Final Fantasy, and I fucking love Spider-Man. So my heart of hearts, I'm gonna spoil it. I can't stop myself. My tongue, I didn't bite it. My heart of hearts is Spider-Man 2, but I'm gonna say Cyberpunk will take it.
Oh, look at you!
Wow.
I love it.
Ooh.
Cyberpunk,
this one up.
the base one, 2077, despite all of the bugs and everything else, really good game. Like good narrative in that game.
That's
underrated.
Yeah, I feel like it's the most like this is a narrative, like kind of its own little story, which is what a narrative is.
Some amazing characters, like Johnny Silverhand's really cool and stuff like that. So I imagine Phantom Liberty is also really good. So cool. In best narrative, I think it's going to be Alan Wake. So does Ryan. Mike thinks it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3. D thinks it's going to be Final Fantasy 16, whether he likes it or not. And Kayla thinks it's going to be Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty.
Look at us. We almost picked all the different.
I know.
I abstained. Don't put this on the record.
Nope.
16. Definitely not a high five on this one.
Game direction. Second to last category here. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. The nominees were Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Kayla, would you like to start off?
Oh, I get to go
Game
first
direction.
this time?
Yes,
I was ready to go first last time, but you didn't snake last time.
I didn't snake last time? I'm sorry.
No.
I'll snake twice in a row if you want.
All right.
No.
Best game direction.
I'll start at the middle and then go out on the next one.
Okay.
So, damn, I'm gonna give it to Alan Wake again because I think it is just unlike any game I have ever played before, and I can't to sit in a writer's room and try to plan that out. I cannot figure out how anybody got to put this thing together. I think it's just very creative and innovative. Let's use the words straight out of the definition. I think it's the most different out of all of these.
Sure. D, the award for game direction is going to go to
The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for doing everything a game has ever done before, but in one game.
Hell yeah.
That's really good. Yes, I think you're right. Mike, what do you think for game direction?
This is the hardest one to pick, I think, because they're all deserving. Tears of the Kingdom is just like the wizardry that, I don't know, there might have been 5 people that worked on this or 5 million people that worked on this. I don't know, but they all deserve a little trophy sent to them from Keeley, because this, just gameplay wise with this game and what they did with all of those powers is amazing. Mario Wonder just blew up huge. Like, people love this fucking game a lot. I think it's people's favorite fucking Mario game. And it comes down to the creativity and stuff that they were allowed to implement in that game. And man, Spider-Man 2 is fucking, there's some unbelievable set pieces and just the transitions out of cutscenes and stuff where it'll be golden hour, the sun, and them suits look so fucking good in all of the lighting in that game. Baldur's Gate 3, unbelievable stuff going on behind the scene, so many moving parts, crazy. But Alan Wake 2 is where it's at. As far as this award, the story, nah. But everything else, all the accoutrements are so good. I don't know the Scandinavian way to say accoutrement, but I'll say sauna instead. And Sam Lake will be on that stage getting this one.
I believe it's the Ati-coutrement.
Ati-coutrement.
Yes. Ati, the janitor.
Oh yes, I got it. I got you.
No. Let me explain, Mike. Ati is the
janitor
of control. Okay, Ryan. What do you think in game direction?
I concur, man. This is the hardest category I think of the year. They're all extremely deserving. We were just talking briefly about how like this is one of the best, could be one of the best years of gaming, and for good reason. They've made some very bold choices in a lot of the game design games this year, and for me, kind of settled down to two things. Probably it was Baldur's Gate 3 and Legend of Zelda. I mean, again, they elevated their genres so much that I think it's gonna be a blueprint for their own genres for years to come. And I mean, Zelda with its physics design, like again, Mike said, I don't know how many people worked on that, but they deserve so much because it made the game so fun, and the way they basically went about using that design into solving, Zelda's amazing puzzles was absolutely that was the game right there. That is the game. And then,
hell yeah,
of course, Baldur's Gate with this just direction of how it handles its consequences of your actions beyond what I've seen in modern video games today, from everything Mass Effect or whatever. It's a very hard one, but I ultimately had to go down to Tears, man. It was so strong of a direction that despite me not being my top game of the year in the top 5 this year, I think it's that for sure. It wins direction.
Whoa. Future Keeley picking Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, this like everyone said, this is a really tough category. I think and it's tough because it's awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. I think Alan Wake does phenomenal things with game direction and some really good ones in design, but
so pretty.
It's wonderful. But if I take design to mean like the programming of it all, the like creativity of like how you just how this world works, it's Tears of the Kingdom for me. Like it's and I think that's what I think should win it, and I guess I'll say will win it.
Wow.
It's just yeah, it's just a impeccably designed game. Not maybe not my favorite of the year or anything else. Maybe it might be. Who knows? We'll see. But just yeah, I mean, no one's doing the things that game is doing.
Poets of the Fall are performing there.
Yeah, they are.
Thursday. I hope they do Herald of Darkness, and I think they're going to be able to show why this game should win this category. So
specifically, welcome. Thank you, my brothers, my sisters. Thank you for joining me, for seeing the lights.
So in game direction, I voted for Tears of the Kingdom. So did Ryan. So did D. Mike and Kayla both went with Alan Wake for game direction.
No one knows what's up. I mean,
and we reached our final category, Game of the Year. What we think will win Game of the Year. Not as prestigious as our Naughty's Game of the Year, but probably second in terms of the entire world, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So Game of the Year nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man, I should say, Resident Evil 4. You've noticed a lot of sequels in this, right? Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, also known as Breath of the Wild 2. So, Game of the Year.
14.
Zelda 14, yes. They really need to put Final Fantasy 16 in here. It just like switch Wonder out for Final Fantasy 16, and we've
that's Mario 5. I mean, come on,
right.
Can't do that.
True. So, I think the Poets of the Fall and all. are here. We mentioned the momentum. I think Sam Lake will be real fun up there at the podium when Alan Wake 2 wins Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I think Keely's got it in for that game. Thanks.
Bold words, Cotton.
Ryan,
wow.
what do you think?
Man,
what do you think of that, Mr. Boulder?
In a year of so many players on the team, and wondering if it get any better than this, let me tell you guys. You had this kid, no one knew he existed, very niche, on the bench, waiting to show what they could do, and just like any true soul ascending in glory, it blew everyone's expectations away. It introduced people to a genre they never knew they could love. In more ways than one, what it meant for the industry and for the community. I don't think Alan Wake did anywhere near close to that, what Baldur's Gate's done for the industry and what video games can do, and not practice other things as well, just not making an amazing game, but what it means making video games going forward in the industry and what's worth your time, your energy, and your buck, opposed to like other things that are packaged now in video games. I think Baldur's Gate, if it's going to win any category this year, it's going to win Game of the Year. Hands down, no contest. Yeah, that's my prediction. Or that's what my future site tells me, at least.
Well, if they could get Asterion on the stage, I'll be okay with.
That'd be great. He's up for best voice, I think, right? Or
he should be. He's great. It's my character. Mike, what do you think? We've got an Alan Wake. We got a Baldur's Gate 3.
This is a great 6-pack of games here. Each of these games had their own kind of moment in the year, but not really Spider-Man, sadly. Spider-Man was caught in that mix of Wonder and Alan Wake. But man, I think it's just Baldur's Gate's year for it. I think Alan Wake's going to get a couple of the technical kind of awards. It's like the Fury Road of this year's Oscars, and
the CGI.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate just kind of is the game people wanted it the most this year. It seemed like people were hungry for that. BioWare has letting people down for like over a decade now. And there's just, like Ryan said, it's niche, but it's not really. Like a lot of people were ready to jump on board. Like just hearing that this thing was great and that you could, fuck who you wanted to fuck in it. Sorry, for the words, but there's so many different things. It has the narrative stuff. It has all the skill stuff and the technical, tactical stuff. But it also has, you get to kiss a bear lady or a bear man or something, and that's important. And Baldur's Gate is going to be the champion this year.
Okay. What do you think, D?
It's hard to argue against that. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into Game of the Year, and I mean, Ryan and his crazy advanced observation hockey aside, I think it's gonna be like one of those contenders moving forward. It's gonna be the reason why we look back at 2023 and say, definitively or not, if this year really was like that year for video games, like your 2017s, your 2011s, your 98s, is how these games, stand the test of time. Like we've all still haven't had a lot of time to like soak in these games. So I think with everyone and all the buzz around Baldur's Gate, I'd be surprised if it didn't come out on top. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Zelda took it. But
sure, yeah.
I just think they're not gonna do that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think people we voted for Breath of the Wild. It won.
Yeah.
Does it deserve it? Sure. I absolutely think so. But I think if this is like the end of a Mario Party game and all of the characters are reaching for that star, and they all start falling one after another. I think Zelda held on to the third spot, and then it's just Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate reaching for that star at the end.
I love it. Kayla, you get to make the last selection. What do you think wins Game of the Year 2020?
I think Link's grabbing that star.
Oh, wow.
I think he holds on.
Really?
Yep.
Damn, all right. Nice. I hope you're right. That'd be awesome. I would love that. Ryan would be so mad.
I think that I don't know. I have a hard time, even though Baldur's Gate has blown up, I do think that it does have a disadvantage, like you do in Baldur's Gate, get them disadvantages, fuckers. I think there is a disadvantage to the access to it, the ability that a lot of people do have. I feel the same way about Alan Wake. I don't think it's a very not hardcore gamer friendly mechanics. I think that they post some challenges. There's not as much of them that can spread around as like Tears of the Kingdom can. Like everybody plays Tears of the Kingdom. I think Super Mario Bros. Wonder was also that way, where it's like you just get more people in it. So I just think Zelda's got the crown.
I like
that game was huge. It was huge when it came out.
It had we all had it as our most anticipated game for how many years?
And it didn't.
We just got right.
Man, I hope you're right, Kayla. Man,
that's good. Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to the fact that I would not be surprised that any of those 3 games, I think most years comes down to like 2 games, right? It's always like, is it going to be this or that? Or just like, yeah, I think even just like last year it was like, it's going to be Elden Ring, right? Like that's the game, right?
Could have been Stray,
But see, this whole time I was thinking, but man, I had that same thought with Elden Ring, that it's like a hard game to play. It's not a game that everybody can play. But here we are.
Yeah. But I
not playing that.
I think though it speaks to the year that it could be Baldur's Gate, it could be Tears, it could be Alan Wake, and no, I don't think anyone would be outraged. I think they're all 3 like really, really good nominees and really, really good picks. So I picked Alan Wake. Ryan and Mike and Dee picked Baldur's Gate 3, and Kayla picked Tears of the Kingdom. And one of us, or possibly 3 of us, is going to be right.
Or possibly none of us.
When
maybe
Resident Evil 4 wins, which is
I think we have the winner between the 5 of us, for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're correct. But someday people are going to look back and they're going to say, man, Spider-Man 2, though, right? What?
Spider-Man 2, though.
Why didn't people talk more about Spider-Man 2,
I want to talk about it. I tell everybody to play it. My son plays games. Does he play Spider-Man 2? You should tell him to play Spider-Man 2. Good game.
Much more on Spider-Man 2 when the Naughties hit in early January. That was our mega gigantic Game Awards, Game 2023, Year of Gaming, all of the above, game. How many times can I say game? Episode, guys. That was a lot of fun. Once the Game Awards end on the 7th, I'll make a nice social media post on who got the most predictions right, and we'll see who was the smartest when it comes to that. Before we get out of here, I want to have a big shout out to our YouTube listeners. Recently, I was able to upload every single episode of this podcast to YouTube. So we had some videos up there, some of the stuff we streamed and whatnot, but now we have a lot more every single episode of this podcast is now on YouTube, and there's been a nice outpouring of support. We've gotten a lot of views, a lot of listens in the last week. So thank you guys. Go ahead and leave some comments on any of those YouTube videos. I'm gonna read. I get an email with every single comment we get, so send those our way. Some of them have been really weird, and I don't understand them. So if you guys want to, go a little deeper, give me some details on what they mean, or stay cryptic. I don't care, but we'd love to hear from you. And
YouTube's a spiral, man. Yes. Makes sense.
Meta.
So, if you don't like to listen on the podcast apps, check us out on YouTube now. Another thing you're going to get pretty soon on YouTube is our episode 150. We are going to do a big streamed episode of this podcast. We're going to play some Jackbox. We're going to try to get the whole gang together for episode 150. So that'll be coming down next. Yeah, so check us out on YouTube now. Big full page there. Send us a email, machineofnonsense@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. See if your predictions are better than ours. Send us your predictions.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite game year ever.
Yeah. Is 2023 the best year? Or is it 2011? Or is it 07? Or is it 98? Let us know. Maybe it's 2015. Maybe you just love 2015.
I don't think it's going to be 2024. I don't think it's going to be.
No.
Especially because we're not getting GTA 6. Yeah, we'll see. Tekken 8. Mike already drafted it, so he has to keep it on his...
Yeah, is that I get to keep those, right? Like Rebirth, too. I get to keep that one.
He gets Rebirth. He just gets it.
Sure, why not? You just get them all. I think you get. If you win, you get to pick first. Maybe that's the new.
Ooh,
I think that's
and second. Good roll.
Yeah,
all right,
you get to pick first, second, and third next year.
Nice.
So that was episode 149 of the Machine of Nonsense. Thank you so much for listening. We talked all about the year in gaming that was 2023. And the Game Awards. We are getting out of here, and we're saying, Keely.
What's up, Jeff?
Enjoy your gaming.
2005.
I just want to shout out to Bill Clinton hosting this year's Game Awards.
What a guy. Slick Willie.
He's practicing his onstage speech.
Yeah, when he rushes the stage.
There's no way he gets bombarded for a third time on stage, right?
They said they're upping the security, so we'll see.
I can't wait.
3 guys this time? 3 guys?
Yes.
Wow.
My money's on somebody getting hit with something.
Ooh. See, they hired the kid from the Game Awards who snuck up on stage to do the security. He's casing out the place. He's like, this is what I would do.
Right.
I would just walk up the stairs with Miyazaki, and so don't let Miyazaki on the stage, and you're good.
Yeah.
No, that kid's a menace. Put him back.